Good morrow, my hearty followers. Thank you for tuning in to another of my videos and another of my monologues. Today, my morning monologue is looking at a couple of the emails that have come in. I am, as you know, inundated with them, and I do go through them, and I do try and find out the information which is useful for me to pass on to you, and other useful stuff that is just for me to learn. We're all in this great big learning thing. I wanted to just alert you to a book that was given to me some months ago, actually, an amazing book. I haven't got that far into it, but it's Trust Me, I'm Lying. That's the name of the title of the book. It's Confessions of a Media Manipulator by somebody called Ryan Holiday, based in America. And just reading the beginning of that tells how the media is being manipulated left, right, and left, right, and centre. I think that's the word we use. And it just goes to show that everything you see, even potentially this, it's all been manipulated. It's all been framed. If I had my way, I would like to abandon this whole channel, abandon making all this stuff, because we're in a surreal world at the moment where everything, you can't trust it. What's true, what's not true. Stuff is coming down the pipe to keep us in fear, to keep us worried, to get us anxious. It's making us materialize things that we don't want. Instead, we should be focusing on the things we do want and working for goodness and not worrying about all the dreadful stuff that's coming down the pipe. But it's a fantastic read so far. But I've got loads of books that people are sending me and advising me to look at and purchase. There's so much. There's not enough hours in the day, and we need to sort of sometimes just pull back and get away from all of this, so that we can settle our minds and not be worried and frustrated. However, I want to go through a couple of stories that have been sent to me that you may find interesting. So the first one is some details about the EV cars. Now, I know this is normally somebody like Jeff Buys Cars territory, but the person who sent this to me said, I did send it to Jeff, but I had no reply, so I've sent it to you, Richard. What can you do with it? Well, I'll do a little bit with it. So I want to go through, this is a whistleblower, I believe, that was talking to somebody, and the information has been captured. So let's see what they were saying in this text document. The topic is digitized cars. Pilot projects are already underway. That in the next 10 years, it says here, it will no longer be possible to insure old hams. I don't know what that means, but old cars, I suppose. You'll be forced to buy a digital car, i.e. an EV, otherwise you won't get insurance. Well, this is, you can see all this, can't you? You can see all this coming down the pipe. These cars are online 24/7 and in real time. They'll be in touch with the insurance and traffic authorities, the remote maintenance, surveillance and authorities, etc. Depending on your driving style, it will be recording your speed, your driver, it'll have your insurance premium, will automatically adjust. In other words, if you drive too fast or too risky, or if you don't pay a fine to the magistrate, then your insurance premium will automatically increase. It says, let's register you as a night driver, higher premium. If you have more passengers in the car, it's a higher premium. If your premium isn't paid, you will no longer be able to start your car. This is where the control, and we can see all this sort of drifting in. We can see that these cars are beginning to get all this extra surveillance stuff. We're already in discussion, it says, with several major automotive brands to bring a Europe-wide standardized technical one-size-fits-all solution onto the market. Many people don't know that fully integrated breathalyzers will be mandatory in the coming vehicle generations. This means that if you are drunk, you'll now be able to start your car. Well, if you're drunk, I don't see that as a huge problem. However, the fact that, let's pass over that. Even if you're below the minimum, here we go, this data will be passed on to the insurance company and you'll be penalized with a higher premium. If you're drunk beyond this limit, the relevant authorities will automatically be informed and your insurance will be cancelled immediately. Yeah, great. Anyway, it goes on and on and on. It's a worrying document. We're relying on the upcoming digital ID a digital ID to access personal data such as health, traffic, home. The background is that all the necessary customer data is already stored somewhere, and as long as it does not leave the EU, everything is fine for the insurance sector of the GDPR, whatever that is. Nowadays, customers also carelessly give their okay under the small print that we can collect their personal detail. Well, this is it. This is, and it goes on. It goes on. You can just imagine all the sort of stuff, the insurance side of things, and so on. It is. I mean, this is where it's all going. And young people, of course, the next generation, who, again, do not understand and have no experience of what it was like in the old days, petrol heads and things like that, of the freedom of the road, and what a car means to a lot of people. A lot of people just think it's just a means from getting A to B. For me, in many ways it is, though I have a van. But it's more than that. It becomes a personal friend to a number of people. But it does seem that it's going to be something to entrap you, ensnare you, to surveillance you, to stop you from doing a number of things. This is not life as I want to live it. This is not life in a good way. This is, I mean, I can understand people being worried and thinking, well, we want to reduce the accidents. We don't want too many insurance costs. There's a lot of people on the roads and all of that. But instead of throwing stones at people, why not give people carrots? Why not give them incentives rather than penalising them every time? These are anti-human policies, it seems to me, things that we need to be pushing back by not buying them. And of course, I suppose if that's the only option, then they make it so difficult for you to buy anything else. So you either say, I won't buy a car or anything, and there you go. But there's going to be pushback against all this sort of stuff. People will perhaps build their own vehicles and not register them. Build their own vehicles, and by not registering them, you're not acquiescing to say to the government that actually I've got to abide by your rules because I'm out of the system. I need to investigate that. Is that possible? Is that something? You'll have the police going, well, what do you think this is? Well, I'm not in your system, mate. I have not given you the consent or permission to, or I've not given over title. I've not registered this vehicle in your system. I'm driving on the public roads and you can't do anything about it. I don't know. Maybe that's what we're going to have to do. Build our own vehicles and go forth. I may be talking rubbish, but we certainly don't want to live in a surveillance society. We don't want our data being grabbed. We don't want greedy insurance companies who make a lot of money out of this. Dead entities, remember, they are corporations, just like the government, just like the Prime Minister's office, just like so many people, just like the police, another business all about collecting money, collecting data, collecting all this stuff. We don't need it. We really don't need any of that. So we've got to push back and work out different ways to do it. So that was one email. I want to show you something else now. What's going on in Liverpool? What's going on in the skies above Liverpool? We were supposed to have a conference in Liverpool, the Great Resist. That was supposed to take place in the hotel at the last minute. Like so many of these truth and freedom movements said, do you know what? We don't want anything to do with it. We cancelled it because it goes against our policy. We're not into politics. And yet, of course, they'll host all sorts of other political rallies, but nothing to do with truth and freedom, which is a bit weird, is it not? It is a bit weird. But anyway, I'm glad we didn't go, because I want to read this email to you. Have a look at this. And I've got some graphics to go with it. Dear Richard, it says, I'm writing to you as a long-time listener, viewer of your excellent YouTube channel. Thank you very much. I would like to bring something to your attention that may be of concern to you and your viewers. My brother keenly uses a flight tracker app to monitor planes flying over the Liverpool area of the UK and noticed a very unusual and frankly suspicious flight path of a plane. It very much seems to follow what looks like a systematic path covering the highly populated areas of Merseyside. For what purpose? I suggested that Google Earth were taking perhaps aerial photos, but then realised that the flight took place at 1 a.m. in the morning. Hardly good conditions for photography, but excellent conditions if you were, let's say, releasing chemical agents into the atmosphere. I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on this, and perhaps you could use your platform to bring this to the attention of your followers on social media. I've attached the screenshots that my brother took. So let's have a look at those screenshots then. What are they doing over the skies in Liverpool? Have a look at this. The green that you'll see on the screen here is the flight path of an aeroplane. Now, is that a holding pattern for an aeroplane trying to land, and it's queued up? There's no other aeroplanes in the area at 1 a.m. And look at that very systematic. It's like mowing a lawn, isn't it? If you live in that area, I'd love to know what your air quality is like at the moment. You've got this aircraft. There's more pictures. Let's have a look. Here we go. For those who are a bit further away, you can see the whole area up there towards the north west of England. That is the area. Look, concentrated with something. Now, is this going over our major cities everywhere, or just this one particular one? Here you go. You get a sense of it. Here's the other aeroplanes. Let's just zoom in on that a little bit on this flight radar. I think it is flight radar. It says there. You can see the Manchester Airport, Derby. You've got Birmingham, and this is somewhat worrying, I would say. Would you not agree? I mean, here's another sense of the flight path. Look at that. I mean, it's like they're ploughing a field. It's what you would expect to see if you were ploughing a field. Look at that. That is rather scary. Does it say our flight times down the bottom here? It took off at 10 to 9, more or less, and it landed at just after 20 past 1. And that's it. What is it doing? What is an aeroplane doing at that? I don't know what the altitude is. Does it give us the altitude? But it's doing something in the sky, and it is rather worrying. See, now, as I say, I can't vouch that any of this is true. As you know, this is why I mentioned this book. Trust me, I'm lying. There is so much that we're being told, so much. Now, I could be infiltrated myself. I'm not suggesting, by the way, that these emails are by anybody who is lying. I'm just saying that we've got to be very careful when we watch stuff, that we're not being misled or misguided. I'm sure that my viewers are 100% honest and decent people. But you just never know who can send in some stuff to distract you on something over here or get you worried and get the fear. And what we have to do is try and push back against the fear. But in order to do sometimes, it's good to do a bit of digging, isn't it? And find out if these stories are rubbish. So if anybody knows anything about this or about these EV cars of the future, is this the only hope? I would love to hear from you, of course. But thank you very much for listening to this. Try not to be too fearful. Try and raise your vibrations. Get out into the countryside. Eat some proper organic food as much as you can, and try and stay healthy. Try not to worry too much about these things, because a lot of these things I think are here to actually get us to worry. Of course we should be concerned, and of course we need to get into groups of people and find and push back against this corporate Britain that is there to sort of penalise us and cajole us into these, corral us into these 15-minute cities and make us turn into zombies with their transhumanism. We don't want any of that. We are decent, ordinary, everyday, wonderful men and women, and long may we stay like that. Thank you for watching.